It's Wednesday, the 5th of May. I just want to thank you all coming in, supporting the show. I really appreciate you guys coming in. Make sure you share and subscribe. This is absolutely becoming populism all over the social media, not just Facebook. It's on Periscope, it's on Twitter, it's on Twitch, it's on YouTube, Facebook. Like I say, it's everywhere. Become an absolute populism. Become part of the aristocracy social elite. Join up to Proclamation News and Gatherence. We're going to give you weather updates, criminology within your constituency, trying to make our constituency safer for you for today, your nieces, your nephews, our young ones coming through. Last night I had a bit of a broken sleep, unfortunately, but we have to deal with these life threats sometimes, unfortunately. It's not fair, but we have to. It's just the way things are. Anyway, the weather for the forthcoming week. The next 2 days, I'll give you the weather forecast. In fact, in my constituency, Colchester, Clacton area, we got the weather today is about 11 degrees Celsius. Thursday is 10 degrees. Friday, 13 degrees. Saturday, in between 11 and 15, but a slight chance of rain. Sunday, the weather is rising in between 10 and 18 degrees. In Belfast, today is 9 degrees Celsius. In Inverness is 10 degrees Celsius. Edinburgh is 8 degrees Celsius. And London is 13 degrees Celsius. So there you go, ladies and gentlemen. You've got the weather forecast for today. The elections, May the 6th. May the 6th. Day before Billy Joe's Saunders fight. If anyone's looking forward to the boxing on the weekend, there's a few. I think there's a couple of good undercards. There wasn't anyone I recognised that I remember what I was talking about yesterday. So if you want to have a look, see who's on the undercard, please feel free to do so. The elections are coming up and the leaders are at the final push for the votes. Boris Johnson and Sir Keir Starmer trying to push their last few votes. Obviously, we'd like a conservative all-round government, wouldn't we? Political party leaders have hit the road in England in a final push for votes ahead of Thursday's elections. Prime Minister Boris Johnson said the Conservatives faced some tough contests, but the party was fighting for every vote, he says. Labour leader Sir Keir Starmer has said Labour was also fighting for every vote, but had a mountain to climb to win back support in the key battlegrounds. The polls will open at 7 BST on Thursday, with results due from Friday. About 48 million people in England, Wales and Scotland will be able to take part in a series of elections taking place against the backdrop of COVID-19. As well as polls for the Scottish Parliament and their Senedd in Wales, there are elections for seats on 143 English councils and 13 local mayors. I mean, Sir Keir Starmer at the QA, I think they all contradict what they actually say. He's saying 1 minute we should be lifting restrictions earlier, and the next minute he's going, oh, what about all the deaths, and trying to put it all on Boris Johnson. So, you know, if he was in the Prime Minister's shoes, what are they doing as well? When you got 1,000, 2,000 people outside Parliament protesting, they want to go back to normality. I think anyone would be frightened enough to give up the lockdown. Anyway, Prime Minister Boris Johnson said the Conservatives faced some tough contests, but the party was fighting for every vote. Labour leader Sir Keir Starmer said Labour was also fighting for every vote, but had a mountain to climb to win back support in key battlegrounds. About 48 million people in England, Wales and Scotland will be able to take part in a series of elections taking place against the backdrop of COVID-19. As well as polls for the Scottish Parliament and the Senedd Wales, there are election seats for 143 English councils and 11 local mayors. Don't forget crime commissioners in your local constituency as well, guys. Mate, it's well worth looking up your party policy, seeing who's standing in for that role. Thursday's votes represent the first electoral test for parties since December 2019, when the Conservatives won a majority at the general election. It'll be first vote since Sir Keir took over as Labour leader 13 months ago, and Sir Ed Davey won the Liberal Democrat leadership race last August. As well as election postponed last year due to COVID, Thursday's bumper crop of votes will also see a by-election for Westminster seat of Hartlepool. I know people think, what's my vote going to make in a difference? Your vote can make the future, shape up your children's future, the absolute difference for your child's future, which is, safety is paramount. Building better infrastructure. You know, if we build better infrastructure, we can accord to the current climate, maybe cancer patients or mothers giving birth, all them kind of things. You've got to think logically. COVID MPs want law to protect care home visiting rights. The rights of care home residents to have visits from loved ones must be underpinned by law, according to a new report by cross-party MPs. The Joint Committee of Human Rights said it was unacceptable that some care home providers had argued it was not safe to follow government guidance. Since April, care home residents in England have been allowed to regular visitors indoors as lockdown has eased. But the report said providers have not felt bound by the guidance. The regulator, the Care Quality Commission, CQC, said it had found that 95% of providers were enabling visitings to happen. As well, if you are tuning in tonight, I've got my mate Aid coming on board. We're going to hold a discussion. You know, some things might touch home with you guys that you've been through in life, and you want a bit of support in that field. Please feel free to come on board. The parliamentary report said that coronavirus restrictions had been eased in care homes over the past few months. Anecdotal evidence heard as part of its inquiry suggests a large number were not following government guidance. Many care home providers are arguing that it is not yet safe to follow the guidance, denying care home residents these important family links as part of their right to family life. This is completely unacceptable. It said it was astonishing the CQC had claimed during the evidence of the committee in April that it was not aware of any care home in England failing to follow the guidance of visits. Labour's Harriet Harman, chairwoman of the committee, said, by not underpinning the guidance in law, care homes have not felt bound by it, and important rights have therefore been respected. The Care Home Quality Commission assurances the visits are being allowed properly now in all care homes is woefully unconvincing. Because care homes see guidance about allowing visits as advisory rather than binding, the government must now bring forward regulations to give their guidance on visits legal force. The MPs and peers on the committee concluded that to prevent future blanket bins on visits, they wanted it to be legal requirement that each resident has their individual circumstance assessed. I'm not being funny. If they've got hospitality sector open and then you've got care workers, they're going to want a bit of a life and go to the hospitality sector. You know, they're going to, on their time off, they're going to go down to the pub. So they're going to bring the COVID in to risk the elderly people anyway. So they might as well just let people have people visit. You know, really, if you can open up the hospitality sector, there is no argument. They should be letting visitors go because the workers are going to be going out willy-nilly. Get a group. When given evidence to the committee, the CQC said it did not collect quantitative data on how many visits that have occurred across care homes. The committee urged the CQC to get a grip and ensure more robust processes were in place for monitoring adherence to the guidance at the end of May. Kate Taroney, Chief Inspector of the Adult Social Care at the CQC, said the regulator had been clear throughout the pandemic that blanket approaches to visiting were unacceptable. She said that during 941 inspections in the last 8 weeks, the CQC had found that 95% of care homes were enabling visiting to happen, and action was taken against the other 5%. Concerns have been raised with us about 30 potential blanket bans, and we have taken action in every case, she said. We expect providers to follow government guidance on visiting where people are entitled to have designated visitors. Social Care Minister Helen Whately said the care homes themselves should decide on visiting policies. We recognise that every care home has a unique layout, physical environment and facilities, and residents have their own individual health and wellbeing needs, which is why care homes themselves are best placed to decide how to enable visiting safely, she said. The report comes a day after new guidance came into force in England, allowing care home residents to go on low-risk trips without to self-isolate for 14 days when they return. In Scotland, care home residents are allowed to choose 2 people to visit indoors once a week. Whilst in Wales, indoor care home visits are allowed for 2 visitors. From Friday, Northern Ireland, care home visits are increased from 1 to 2 a week, each lasting from 1 hour. We've got so much. We've got George Floyd allegations still going on, and Stuart Lubbock with Micheal Barrymoore, with all that going on as well. I'd like to see what was going on there. First of all, I want to give a shout out to my sponsors. Very, very, very important that I give you the update of my sponsors. Absolutely, guys. If you see on my Facebook, you can make a donation. If you guys don't mind making a small donation, I would appreciate it. On my Facebook is my PayPal account. If you enjoy my journalism, my emphasising, my enthusiastic self, this is a philanthropist job. It's exercising my education that I've already started to gain within university. I appreciate any type of, even if it's something small within support. While I'm at university, full-time study, I can't do much else apart from study. So I appreciate you guys if you can. If you can't, it's no big deal, but I appreciate it. Anything small, I don't mind. Even as small as £1, 50p, whatever you got. Thank you very much. If not, don't worry. It's not a big deal. I'm not begging, but, you know, we've got to sell something, haven't we? Try to sell my artwork as well at the same time. Anyway, we've got some sponsors. A great shout out for our sponsors. Relax UK Limited, health, travel and wellness products since 1997. Proclamation News and Gatherence has added sponsor. Have a look at this health and wellbeing website. Nutrition and mind management. Healthy is the wealthiest option to choose. Money can't buy happiness, but the products can help you enjoy life better again. Nourish yourself with the world's famous healthy products on the market. So it's relax-uk.com. Check out the website. We've got some fantastic goods on there. It's not my website. So it's a friend of mine. I've tried the products, and it is very, very. Talk about ideological world and athleticism, or you just want to maintain your body. Absolutely the place to shop. Anyway, Proclamation News and Gatherence is also sponsored by PSS Alarms. Very adequate and pragmatic work carried out. Company carried out works in Casabar in Essex, restaurant and many more big businesses. Installation and maintenance of intruder alarms, fire alarms, CCTV, all work guaranteed and certified to SSARB standard. 24-hour call-out service. Can provide CCTV for pubs, clubs, restaurants, or new business setup. Secure your business. Mention Professor Johnson for an extra discount. Secure your home, secure your business. Your safety and priorities in your business are paramount, so think safety and think first. Secure your equity. If this is something you want, which is very, very ideological for your business, your safety of your family perhaps, which is paramount, please give this number a call and ask for Tariq Khan. 07908 07908 216 142. 07908 216 142. There you go, ladies and gents. So if you need to secure your business, this is COVID depression. Is COVID causing people depression? Out of work, out of your mind. You've turned to alcoholism because you're bored, or narcotics, too much, overindulging eating, not getting out to do your usual routine, exercise, or, you know, not keeping your mind preoccupied. COVID depression rising young and women during second peak of COVID. Women and younger adults were more likely to feel depressed during the second UK coronavirus peak than men and other age groups. For Office for National Statistics, ONS data suggests 4 in 10 women aged between 16 and 29 were affected, compared to 26% of men. 1 in 5 adults experienced depression in early 2021, more than double pre-pandemic levels. But GPs in England diagnosed fewer cases of depression in adults in 2020 compared with the year before. Many people may not be seeking medical help, the ONS says. However, the GP data from March to August 2020 may not include who went to their GP last summer and were diagnosed with depression at a later point. Are you a lady? Are you suffering depression? Are you a man suffering depression? You want help? You want help? Call the Samaritans. Take some depression tablets. Have a sleep. Sleep it off. That's all you're going to get. Anyway, health experts have already warned that the combined effects of ill health, isolation and job losses during the pandemic would have a negative impact on people's mental health and well-being. Don't get to see kids. Have your kids taken off you. Have all your cars taken off. Have your life thrown in the bin. You can't build back better. You just got to sit there and sulk. That's what's going to happen. Before the pandemic began, 10% of the adults said they experienced some form of depression. Last autumn, following the first peak, ONS data suggested twice as many adults in Britain, 90%, had feelings of depression as normal. And this new data suggested even more people were affected in early 2021. 21%. This means they experienced symptoms including a lack of energy, poor appetite, sleeping problems, or feeling down or hopeless. I feel hopeless every day. Every day I feel hopeless. I want to be a great inspiration. Leave a great legacy for my children to follow. That's what I want to do. I don't know about you guys, but I feel absolutely hopeless. I feel worthless, hopeless. Between January and March 2021, disabled people, adults, are extremely vulnerable, and those living in the most deprived areas of England were more likely to say they felt depressed than any other groups. I feel that hopeless and depressed. So they say, I'll get a violin for you. I've actually got one. I've got myself a violin. There you go. There's your depression. Play a violin, mate. There you go. Ba, 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 ba. There you go. The ONS analysis was based on 25,935 adults answering a questionnaire which asked about their feelings. One of the 8 questions posed was over the last 2 weeks. How often have you been bothered by having little interest or pleasure in doing things? A score of 10 or more indicated moderate to severe depression symptoms. What can you do if you get depression? What can you do if you get depression? Who's here? Thank you for tuning in, guys. Appreciate everyone here. Really means a lot. I'll just check and see who popped in. George Floyd. Let's have a look at this George Floyd allegation. George Floyd killer Derek Chauvin asks for a new trial. The white former Minneapolis police officer convicted last month for the murder of the black man George Floyd has requested a new trial. Derek Chauvin's legal term have filled court documents alleging misconduct by both prosecutors and jurors. He's guilty. It was put on camera. It was on camera what he done. He's guilty. Chauvin, who captured on video kneeling on Floyd's neck for more than 9 minutes, was found guilty of murder and manslaughter. His lawyer says his client was deprived of a fair trial. The rare verdict against a police officer was considered a milestone in the racial history of the US and was widely applauded by Americans. Chauvin faces up to 40 years in prison. He will be sentenced next month. What is Chauvin's legal team arguing? US media report that the request for a new trial, as was expected and a common move following a conviction. The New York Times quoted experts as saying it was unlikely that the jury's decision would be overturned because of the evidence in this case. In court documents, Eric Nielsen argues that the process was not impartial because of the pre-trial publicity. He writes that it was so persuasive and so prejudicial before the jury in the trial that it is amounted to a structural defect in the proceedings. The motion also alleges that errors were made by the judge and that there was a prosecutorial misconduct and witness intimidation. All them words, tongue twister. On this trial, do you think it was like a racial, fascist, xenophobia attack, or do you think it was just the police officer had a bad day? I personally think it's probably because the guy was coloured, he probably thought, oh, he's probably a down and out, probably a dealer, probably deserves it. But there's so many white dealers just exactly the same, just exactly the same. So why would he do that? Treat someone like that? Why would he treat someone? That's why he's getting the punishment he deserves. What is the controversy about the jury? Supporters of Chauvin has pointed to jury Brandon Micheal, who was pictured last August at the event in Washington held on the 57th anniversary of the Civil Rights Movement's historic March on Washington. The event included a Get Your Knee Off Your Neck protest, at which speakers include Martin Luther King's son demanded racial equality. Mr. Micheal was pictured wearing a t-shirt bearing the slogan, "Get your knee off our necks," at the BLM, referring to Black Lives Matter movement. Juries at the Chauvin case were asked before the trial whether they or people they knew well had participated in protests about police use of the force or police brutality. Mr. Micheal, the only juror in the trial to give media interviews, says he answered not to that question. I mean, sometimes the police can overreact. They are allowed to use level 2 force. But did George Floyd give him any reason to use level 2 force? I don't know what the arrest was about at the time. Was it just an arrest just because he thought he had something on him or what? I don't know. He told the Minneapolis Star Tribune that he had attended to the event to commemorate the civil rights movement and had not seen it in an anti-police brutality protest. The opportunity to be around thousands and thousands of black people, I just thought it was a good opportunity to be part of something, he said. Before the trial, during questioning by Chauvin's defense team, Mr. Micheal said that the new Black Lives Matter as a statement that he supported. How did the trial unfold? 12-member jury took less than a day to declare Chauvin guilty following a highly charged 3-week trial in which 45 witnesses took the stand and several hours of video footage were shown. Several witnesses broke down in tears as they watched graphic footage of Mr. Floyd's death and described feeling and helpless as events unfolded. Expert witnesses on behalf of the state testified that Floyd died on the lack of oxygen due to the manner of restraint employed by Chauvin and his colleagues. Chauvin himself chose not to testify, invoking his right to incriminate himself with the responses. What happened to George Floyd? A 46-year-old bought a pack of cigarettes at the convenience store in May 2020. A shop assistant believed he had used a counterfeit note and called the police after Mr. Floyd refused to give the cigarettes back. When the police arrived, they ordered Mr. Floyd out of his parked car and handcuffed him. A struggle ensued when the officers tried to put a screaming Mr. Floyd in the squad car. He wrestled him to the ground and pinned him under their weight. Chauvin pressed his knee into the back of Mr. Floyd's neck for more than 9 minutes. As he was being retained, Mr. Floyd said more than 20 times that he could not breathe, pleading for his mother and begging, please, please, please. When the ambulance arrived, Mr. Floyd was motionless. He was pronounced dead about an hour later. All over a £20 note. That is the answer. Over a £20 note over cigarettes. What a absolute disgrace. That geezer deserves more than 40 years in prison. I thought the guy has done something very bad, like, talking about criminology, talking about something very, very bad. That is disgusting. Absolutely disturbing. Really is shockingly disturbing. Yeah, they can overreact, some police, but that's in the US. It's not in the UK. I did see something within the police force the other day. It took 7 policemen to arrest one. It's a white guy, drunk and disorderly, possibly misuse of drugs. But it's still got to be careful how they go about arresting people. Absolutely. Stuart Lubbock. This is what surprises me. Stuart Lubbock murder investigation. Micheal Barrymoore has told police everything he knows about the death, as his Paul friends say. A friend of Micheal Barrymoore's confirmed that the police visited the former TV star to try and find out more. Micheal Barrymoore is a narcotic abuser, alcoholic. He's paranoid. It doesn't phrase me. Why hasn't he got CCTV up all over his house? It doesn't. It's not like he can't afford it. He's got a big house. He's got a massive house. He's not like me or you, but we've got £20 in our pocket. Or he's got absolutely millions. He's made thousands over the years. He should be having CCTV up at the back and front. How does no one know what happened? Micheal Barrymoore has reportedly told detectives everything he knows about the night Stuart Lubbock died at his home. A friend of the former TV star confirmed that police visited Barrymore to ask for any new information after a 50-year-old man was arrested on suspicion of murder and indecent assault. Mr. Lubbock, a 31-year-old factory worker, was found dead in Barrymore's swimming pool at his home in Roydon, Essex, after a party back in 2001. Internal injuries suggested the 31-year-old was sexually assaulted. The Mirror reported that Mike Brown, who was an entertainer's agent and still a friend, said they asked him if anything had come to light in the last 20 years. Michael said if there was anything at all, he wouldn't be withholding any evidence. He would have given them a ring straight away. They left and said, "Thank you very much." I mean, if by chance, you saw over the media, if by chance you're listening, you manage to hear it, you got to come forward. We really have. Mr. Lubbock, the father, is terminally ill, and he wants to get justice before he passes away. So it's a big shout out to anyone in that area who might know something or could turn a stone, maybe find something out. Then please do. Mr. Brown added that police had called Barrymore, who turned 69 yesterday, to arrange the meeting, claiming he did not have a lawyer present. Mr. Brown said they confirmed to him that he wasn't a suspect and they were purely coming to check if he had any further information. Mr. Lubbock's father, Terry, 76, revealed in February that he fears he will not live to see justice for his son after being diagnosed with prostate cancer. Barrymore sued Essex Police for wrongful arrest after he was held in 2007 in connection with the death. In 2019, Court of Appeal judges concluded TV presenter would be entitled to only nominal damages. This doesn't understand. His house is like his absolute mansion. Swimming pool at Micheal Barrymore's home where Stuart Lubbock's body was found. Officers spoke to Mr. Brown hours after the arrest of suspect in Cheshire in March. Essex Police said this week they are preparing to send a file to the Crown Prosecution Service following a substantial and detailed investigation. Police said he was held after they obtained significant new information following a fresh appeal. More on Piers Morgan. Piers Morgan launches fresh attack on Meghan Markle months after Good Morning Britain exit. Do you think he's missed? I do like Piers Morgan. His confrontation meetings are absolutely phenomenal. He's got some good tactics up his sleeve. I like it. His psychological powers as well. He can steer someone into danger with the words and constructive criticism they put at someone to make them slip up and come out of the truth. His latest qualm is how she's named in her book. Former controversial Good Morning Britain host Piers Morgan, who stormed off set in February after ranting about Meghan Markle and the Duchess of Sussex, has today launched a new and scathing attack. In the latest column on Daily Mail, Mr. Morgan has lashed out on the Duchess for using her royal title to author a new children's book, The Bench. You know, everyone's entitled to their opinion. People can come here and make their opinion of me setting up Proclamation News and Gatherence. But we've all got to start somewhere, haven't we? We've all got to find our platform, find our foundation. This has been going on for many, many years. I was paternalistic national news before I started Proclamation News and Gatherence. I've done media studies since 1996. So, you know, it is what it is. Flux with the flow and flux with the show. He wrote, yet when it comes to flogging a book, what awful name does Meghan Markle use? Ah, of course, Meghan, the Duchess of Sussex. He added, yes, she continued to cynically exploit at the royal titles because she knows that's the only reason anyone is paying her vast sums of money to spew uniquely unctuous brand of poise, hectoring gibberish in Netflix documentaries, Spotify podcasts, or children's books, of course. Her equally cynical publishers don't give a damn about any of this shocking double standards. Confirming a new book, The Bench, on Tuesday, Meghan said in a statement, The Bench started as a poem I wrote for my husband on Father's Day. A month after Archie was born, the poem became the story. She went to say, my hope is that The Bench resonates with every family, no matter the makeup, as much as it does with mine. The Duke and the Duchess of Sussex now reside in California with their son Archie, Mountbatten, Windsor, and are awaiting the birth of the next child. Prince Harry returned to the United Kingdom last month for the funeral of his grandfather, Prince Philip, Duke of Edinburgh, who died at the age of 99 in Windsor Castle on the 9th of April. Ladies and gents, I am very, 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 very thankful for all the loyal listeners on Proclamation News and Gatherence. Thank you ever so much for joining me at YouTube. Please subscribe to our YouTube channel. Anyone that's listening on Twitter, anyone listening on Facebook. Don't forget, we've got May the 6th election tomorrow. May the 6th election is tomorrow. Saturday, we've got the big boxing countdown for Billy Joe Saunders. Probably going to be early hours in the morning, you boxing fanatics, you sport fanatics. If you want to get behind the homegrown boxer, he's boxed for Olympics, so he's an English-British boxer. Lives in Hatfield, Greater London, Hertfordshire. So get behind the home fighter. He's fighting Canelo Alvarez. Get behind Billy Joe Saunders. Support him on a weekend. I don't know if you guys are going to start watching. Watch the highlights. Give him a shout on his tweet, on Instagram. Let him know you're there behind him. Give him that bit of support. Give him that bit of courage. Give him that bit of support. Gives you courage, doesn't it? Everyone going, come on, you know. Giving people that courage, that support. Exactly what I need in Proclamation News and Gatherence. People coming through, having want to jump in, hold a conversation. You're allowed to. You just got to comment in my comment box if you want to jump on the show, have a chat about anything in the economics, globalisation. I know, talk about piracy. We can talk about piracy coming out, you know, illegal ships coming over, nicking our resources, anything you want to talk about. We can talk about fishermen rights. I don't know everything, but I can sure give it a damn good go. I'll give it the best go I can. But anyway, ladies and gents, thank you all for joining the show. I am the Prodigious, the prominent professor at P&G. Thank you. I appreciate all the loyal listeners. If you're on Facebook listening, thank you very much for staying observed and both preserved. Takes a fine specimen of a woman or man to take note of everything I say. If you indulge it as well, it's even better. I don't indulge everything I say. I've got, I'm reading out the fresh news daily. I absorb it and I remember it when I come away sometimes, and not everything. I've got a good mind like a sponge. I could tell you, the constitutional law backwards almost. I can tell you, as I say, family law. Family law can't tell you everything backwards, but I've read it 4 times. I've read many books. I'm like a big book reader, as you can imagine. Anyway, guys, thank you. Take care. God bless. I'll be back again this evening. I've got a talk show with my friend tonight, and if anyone else would like to jump in, we can have 3 in a box on the same screen. I'd appreciate it if we can hold any kind of discussions. Anything that you've been through in life that you want to come and bring to the show, please do. Don't forget it's my show, so don't come here hurling abuse at me. I'm not here to put anyone down, but just to let people know we all go through life, life's purgatory, I'm not here to put, if you hear me saying something, you think it's probably about one of my ex-partners. 9 times out of 10, it's not. So I'm not going to do that. I'm live on my radio. Definitely not, guys. I appreciate you all come through. I'll be back. I don't know. I'm going to try and be back about 6, 7. We're going to do like a 2-hour talk show. Me and my friend, I reckon, like we did the other day. Anyway, take care. God bless. I'll be back again this evening.